Hey, what's going on, everybody? Steve here, Rake and Profit over at rakeandprofit.com. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you 7 things to do before starting an e-commerce business. So today what we're going to be talking about is starting your own e-commerce business, your own e-commerce store. We're not going to be talking about selling on eBay. We're not going to be talking about Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or Mercari or using any of these other platforms to sell products. What we're talking about today is how to start your own e-commerce store, your own brand, your own website. And I want to discuss 7 things that you need to keep in mind and 7 things that you need to make sure you do before starting an e-commerce store. I've run a couple e-commerce stores in the past, and as of late, if you watched one of my latest videos, I shared that I was actually starting a brand new e-commerce store, and I've been spending a ton of time building it and getting ready to launch it. I've spent just a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort, and I just want to share these things that can definitely help you before launching an e-commerce store. Matter of fact, you know, one of my best friends, and he's been one of my mentors, he started his e-commerce store about 5 years ago, and last year he did over $2 million in sales with his e-commerce store. Now his profit margins were a little over 20%, so they're not as high as selling on eBay or Amazon FBA, but it's your own store, it's your own brand, and there's a lot of power in having your own store. There's a lot of control. And as a lot of you guys know, when you're selling on eBay or Amazon FBA, a lot of times you have to put up with their rules, right? If they change the fees, if they change the rules, if they change, you can't do this, you can't do that, you have to follow it. You really have no control, right? If they change payment processors like eBay did, there's nothing you can do about that, right? If they want to raise their fees, if they, want to crush your visibility, there's nothing you can do about it. But when you run your own e-commerce store, yeah, there's a lot more responsibility, but there's also a lot more upside and reward and control to be able to build your business. So with that being said, let's get into the 7 things that you must do before starting an e-commerce store. Number 1 is you have to choose what type of store that you want to create. Now, there's a couple different types of stores that people can create. The first one is what's known as like a single product or a niche store or a niche store. And a lot of times what people do is they build their own website, their own store, and they promote one single product, right? You might see the advertisements on various social media platforms where they're promoting some type of viral product. It could be, a little thing that you hold in your hand that lights up the whole room, or thing that flies around and lights up, or maybe it can be like the other day I saw one of these shower heads that have like these cool little like stones inside of it, and when the water goes through, it's supposed to like purify it or whatnot. And I clicked on the ad and it went to the website, and this guy or girl, whoever, they had this, custom e-commerce store built out all around this one product. So you could build a store around one product, which a lot of times are more short-lived versus long-lived, which we're going to talk about soon. Or you could build out a general store, or it could even be a niche store that has multiple products around that category. So some people, they have stores, just like, for example, ebay.com, right? Their store is featuring all different types of products, right? There's other stores out there that might sell products related to sports, and they're selling maybe t-shirts around football and soccer and baseball, and who knows, maybe even ping pong, right? Ping pong's been popping off lately. So that's the first thing you need to decide. Do you want to do like a single niche store or a general store? For me, what I'm doing on my journey right now, it's actually a niche down single product store right now. Now my plans are in the future to build that out around the niche that I'm in, and there's a lot of upside. So if you are going to go with like a single product niche store, it's good to be able to have an upside in terms of, if you wanted to kind of like broaden out eventually around that. So that's number 1. Number 2, you've got to ask yourself, are you looking to build a short-term business or a long-term business? Right? Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, of course, I'm looking to build a long-term business. But when you're building a long-term business, there's a lot more work, there's a lot more effort, there's a lot more branding, there's a lot more marketing that goes into it, versus what some people are doing now, like the example before, they're finding a viral product, something they don't really care about, something they're not really passionate about, something that's gonna come and go, right? What were those little widget spinners, right? What were those things called again? those things came and go. There's a lot of people who created and built out, niched single product e-commerce stores around that, and they ran their marketing to all the different social platforms. They made a ton of money, right? But they came and then they went and they're gone, and you can't really build a long-term business out of that because it's just so niche down and narrow, and it's based on, just kind of like a viral product. So for me, what I'm doing is I'm building a long-term business. While it is a single product right now and it's in a specific niche, the niche that it's in is actually huge, and the audience is huge, and there's just so many opportunities that I could build out into with this. So it's just something to keep in mind. Are you looking to just make a bunch of money now? If you build out a viral store that does very well, and you have a supplier, but it's probably going to come and go? Or are you looking to build something that's long term? One of my best friends who's been doing it, who did the $2 million last year, his store is very niche down, but it had the opportunity to reach a large audience, and there was an opportunity to sell a whole bunch of various products within it. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. So ask yourself that question. Number 3, and this is probably one of the most important things when it comes to building your e-commerce store. One of the most important things, and we all know if you're selling on eBay or you're selling on Amazon now and you're going to thrift stores and garage sales or auctions or Facebook Marketplace to source, you know how important it is for the source, right? Your supplier is Goodwill, it's Savers, it's your local auction. That's your supplier, and you know how important that is, right, to build your business. Well, when you're running an e-commerce store, the number one thing that you need to be focusing on before you start is making sure that you land a trustworthy, reputable, and ultimately promising supplier to get your product, right? Because you're not going to be going to thrift stores. You're going to need a supplier. And one of the best suppliers that I recommend that anybody could start with is Alibaba.com. And I actually want to take you into my computer right now and share with you something that you could look into right now in order to be able to find, like I said, a trustworthy, verified supplier, someone who's going to be able to take care of you, who has high quality products. And one thing to keep in mind too is when you work with a supplier, you have to make sure that you don't get scammed. You have to make sure that if you send them the money, they're going to send you the product. So there's a lot of trust that goes into it. Being able to find a trustworthy supplier is hard. But with Alibaba.com and the Elite Partner event, which is actually going down right now, which is sharing 14 global suppliers right now. These are suppliers that are vetted by Alibaba.com, right? They're verified, which means Alibaba.com, they actually have third-party representatives that are going and looking at the factories, looking at the products at the factories, making sure they are what they say they are. These are suppliers that are not only verified, like I said, they went and they made sure they are who they say they are, but these suppliers have 10 years experience. They're very quick in terms of being able to respond to you. So you can actually, and I'm going to show you in a second, I'm going to share with you 4 suppliers that I researched that are really great, that are actually inside of the Elite Partner event going down right now, so you can check them out. But they'll communicate with you quickly. You'll be able to negotiate prices with them. They're verified, they're trustworthy. So let me take you into my computer right now. So this is the Elite Partner event. And again, like I said, Alibaba.com, it's one of my favorite sources for being able to build relationships with wholesale suppliers. So during this Elite Partner event, you can actually check out, like I said, 14 global suppliers that are verified, right? So they're authenticated. They have an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 stars on Alibaba.com. They have a very, very strong shipping rating, a response time of 94% and up, and over 10 years experience, which is huge, because if you work with a supplier who doesn't have a lot of experience, you could be at risk of not getting what they say they're going to give you. Maybe you're not getting the best prices. Maybe there's an issue with quality control. Maybe there's poor shipping times. So you want to come over here and you want to check out the Elite Partner event. Come over here, watch the videos, check out the website. And I want to share with you 4 suppliers that you can actually look into right now. And one of the great things about Alibaba.com and the suppliers that are here on the Elite Partner event is they're all different types of product categories. So, one of the things that we're going to be talking about soon is figuring out more about what type of products you want to find, so on and so forth, the niche that you want to get into. So let's dive into a couple of these right here. Here's Rena Pet. Now, this is a supplier who's been in business for over 12 years. like you can see. And what you want to do is you want to come over to the site and you can check out the various products, the various certifications. And when you see a product that you like, let's go into some dog bowls, which are really cool. When you come over to the product and come over to the supplier page, and again, I'm going to link up the Elite Partner event down below, and I'll link up these 4 wholesale suppliers, these verified high quality suppliers down below in the description. But when you come over here, you're going to be able to see a bunch of different information, okay? So here's the title, right? What you're going to get. This is very similar to eBay and Amazon, so it's super simple. You're going to be able to see what their minimum order quantity is and the price per unit. You're going to be able to see the different colors right in the description. Now I want you to take a look at this right here. This is really huge. When you're looking for a wholesale supplier on Alibaba.com, I always look for suppliers of one of 2 things. Number one, I want to make sure that they're accepting trade assurance, right? So trade assurance is essentially a protection, right? So when you negotiate a deal with the supplier and say you're gonna maybe purchase 100 pieces and it's gonna be $2,000, when you send them the money, it doesn't go directly to the supplier. Alibaba.com is actually holding it in, it's kind of like an escrow account. And when the item gets shipped to you, and you finally verify, okay, this is what I wanted, the quality is great, this is exactly what I wanted, then the money will be released. So it's kind of like an insurance, and the communication goes through there. It's really, really great. So I look for trade assurance. You can also see the type of shipping that they have. You can compare rates. Is it going to be shipped via air? Is it going to be shipped on a boat? You know, boat's going to be slower, less expensive. Air is going to be quicker, but it's going to be more expensive. The payments that they accept. And over here on the right-hand side, this is one of the most important parts that you want to look at, okay? So over here, you're going to be able to see that, that this supplier right here is a verified supplier. So it means there has been a third-party representative which has gone over, checked out their factory, their products, the manufacturing. They've taken pictures. They've given detailed information, all different types of information about the factory, the background. Pretty much any and everything that you'd want to know to make a good decision is going to be there. So that's really, really important. And not everybody's a verified supplier, like I said. So this is top shelf. You'll be able to see where the supplier is located, right? What's their average response time? How many transactions have they done? So this is great for transparency. And you know, the percentage of on-time delivery rates, which is huge. When you're running an e-commerce store, if you start running low on inventory, you've got to get back in stock quick. So you've got to be able to plan ahead of time, put in your order, and make sure that you can trust your supplier. So you can find all different types of information here, like the company information, are they verified, trade assurance. You can contact the supplier right here. And when you contact a supplier, open up a dialogue, start building relationship with them, start building rapport, ask questions, you know, can I order samples? What's the minimum order quantity? What are your various pricing tiers, right? A pricing tier is, for example, you know, maybe it's $3 a dog bowl if you buy up to 100, but what happens if you buy 2 to 500? Maybe it drops down to $1.50. So that's really important. So over here, you can find out all different types of information. You could contact customer support, and some of these suppliers also will have a live chat feature. So this is the first supplier that I'd recommend. Here's the second supplier that I would like to recommend as well over here at the Elite Global event, which is really, really interesting. There's so many different products. Now, this supplier right here, you can see their name right here. You can see where they're located. And again, you can go through some of the various products right here and you can click into them. Now, this supplier has a lot of great deals on electronics, right? And I know a lot of people who are having success with electronic e-commerce stores. Again, you can take a look at the video, you can check out the products, you can start your order, you can see the various pricing. Now this supplier has the various pricing for the different tiers, which is really interesting right here. You can see that they offer trade assurance. I love the pictures here, and definitely dive into you know, these suppliers, check them out. I'm just gonna share a couple more with you. Here's the next one, JRT Tech. I found this supplier to be really, really cool. They had some great pricing. They had some really interesting products over here that I think are very trendy. They appear to be very high quality. Check out this sweat belt right here. So again, you can click through the different pictures, the various products that they have. You could contact the supplier right here. Again, this is a verified supplier. That's why you definitely want to check out the, the Elite Partner event going on, because there's so many verified suppliers. There's so many suppliers who have been in business for a long time. Look at this. This supplier right here, JRT, they've been in business for 14 years. You see these diamonds right here? Alibaba.com has something called the Supplier Online Performance Index, which essentially takes into consideration a bunch of different factors that come down to the quality of the product, the popularity of the product, the sales velocity of the product, all different types, right? And there's 5 different tiers that they rate it on. So the more diamonds, the better. So definitely check out this supplier. And the last one that I wanted to share right here is Yunda Filter Group. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but they had some really, really interesting products as well. And like I was sharing, some of the best stores are niche down stores, because the more niche down you are in a category, the deeper you can get into it, the more specific you can target your potential customer, which I'm going to talk about. But they sell all different types of water products, filters, all different types of items here. And again, you can click into the product, you can contact the supplier. This supplier, you can actually call them, you can chat with them, you can check out reviews, the pricing, trade assurance. They're verified. They've been in business for 13 years. So definitely check out this event, check out some of these suppliers. And that is number 3. So let's jump out of the video right now and let's get back here and let's talk about the 4th thing that you need to make sure that you know, and the 4th thing you need to do before starting an e-commerce business. And this is one of the most important things. A lot of people, they find a product that they think is trendy or viral, or maybe they go to Alibaba.com, they find a supplier, they see a product, they're so excited, they're ready to do it, they're ready to buy, they're ready to purchase, they're ready to make it happen. And what you want to do before that, before all of this, before you start ordering samples, before you go through any of the process of purchasing, is make sure you run your numbers, right? So for example, with my e-commerce business, and I'm going to be talking more about marketing strategy actually in the 5th point, but in my business, we're going to be utilizing mostly Facebook ads and Google ads, right? We might also be jumping into some influencer marketing as well, but you've got to know what type of costs are going to be involved, what type of costs are going to be involved in the product. That's why it's great to talk to a supplier first and kind of get a feel for, okay, how much are the products going to cost? What's it going to cost for me to be able to convert a customer? Now, one of my good friends who's a mentor, I know it costs him about $40 on Facebook to convert, but for me, it might be 20, it might be 60, right? So you have to consider, what are you going to be selling it for? How much is it going to cost for shipping? What are going to be your marketing expenses, your software expenses, your expenses if you're running a Shopify store, or for me, I'm using hosting I'm using WooCommerce, and I've got hosting, and I've got different fees, and I've got different softwares, and I've got different plugins that have monthly subscriptions. So you kind of need to know what are going to be your numbers, because you might find out, okay, based on what I can purchase these products for from my supplier, you found someone on Alibaba.com, you figure out, okay, maybe I can buy these dog bowls for $3, I could sell them for $35. After you run your numbers, you're like, okay, I could have a return on my investment of maybe 30% after all I run after all the numbers you run, and you're like, all right, I'm going to move forward. But maybe you run the numbers and you're like, these margins are way too thin. Advertising costs are too high. The competitors are dropping the price more and more. And I'm sure you guys have seen that before on eBay and Amazon, where they just keep dropping the prices more and more. Right? You want to make sure you're not in that type of market. You want to be in a market where you could differentiate yourself, or you could find a product. Or what's great in Alibaba.com when working with the suppliers is you could customize the products, you can improve the products, you could even build out bundles, you could do all different types of creative things. So just keep that in mind. You've got to know your numbers. And number 5, the 5th thing you need to do is you got to plan your marketing strategy. Right? When you're running an e-commerce store versus selling on eBay or Amazon, where you're going to thrift stores and whatnot, that's completely different. You don't have to worry about a marketing strategy, because those platforms have all the customers, right? That's why you're paying the fees on eBay and Amazon, is because they already have the customers. People complain, I don't want to pay 30% to Amazon. I don't want to pay 12% to PayPal and eBay. I know PayPal's not a part of it anymore, but I don't want to pay those fees, right? You're paying those fees for the customer, but when you run your e-commerce store, you don't have to pay any fees to a platform other than your subscriptions, and the biggest fee is going to be your advertising costs, your cost to convert a customer on Facebook or Google, which is a lot more than you would realize. Actually, matter of fact, when you start running paid traffic, you're going to be bowing down and be grateful to some of these platforms you sell on for being able to just give you the customers, right? So you've got to plan your marketing strategy. For me, I'm going to be using Facebook ads and Google ads. Number 6, and this is especially important if you don't have much experience running an e-commerce store, if you don't have a lot of experience with internet marketing, is you want to build a team, right? I love the website Upwork.com. I love the website onlinejobs.ph for finding virtual assistants all over the world. So you could find people in the Philippines, in India, and you can hire a really great team. So for example, I hired a web developer to be able to develop my website. I hired a design team on 99designs.com to be able to design my website, because when you build your website, for me, it's a little more complicated because I'm building, my website's very customized, it's very personalized. So I decided not to use Shopify because I needed a lot of customization. But you know, you've got to design a website, you've got to develop a website. You know, for email marketing, I'm using a software called Klaviyo. I had to hire somebody to help set all that up because there's so many hats that you wear starting an e-commerce business that the biggest thing that holds a lot of people back, and it held me back for a long time, for years, is I would try to do everything on my own. And I'm not even talking about Facebook ads or Google ads or any of that, but just building the site, getting all the emails together, writing copy, graphic design. There's so many hats you need to wear. So that's one of the best things of, you know, starting an e-commerce business versus selling on eBay or Amazon, just thrifting or retail arbitrage, is you can actually sell this business, right? You can sell it because you're building it. You're building out the systems, you're building out the website, you're building out the marketing, you're building out the infrastructure of it. So a lot of times these e-commerce stores can sell for a multiplier of 2 to 3. So that means if you made $30,000 profit, you might be able to sell that for $60,000 to $90,000, right? You know, my buddy who had made a couple $1 million, he made around, you know, $200,000 or $250,000 profit last year. He might be able to sell that for $400,000 to $600,000. So that's one of the beauties of starting an e-commerce store, is you can actually sell it, especially if you set it up right and build a brand. But setting up a team is huge. I know for some people, you're going to have more time than money versus time. So you're going to want to learn it all, watch the YouTube videos, do it all yourself. But for me, I've been blessed to have done very well in business over the last 6 or 7 years. So I built a team to do it, and it definitely made it a lot easier. And number 7, the 7th thing you need to do before starting an e-commerce store or an e-commerce business, whatever you want to call it, is you've got to get your mindset right. Starting an e-commerce store, it's more challenging than just traditional thrifting and reselling on eBay and Amazon. You're wearing all the hats. You're building the website. You're dealing with the payment processors. You're dealing with all the customer service. You're taking all the pictures. You're doing all the SEO. You're doing all the research. You're doing all the marketing. You're finding the customers. You're having to win back the customers. You're writing copy. You're sending emails. You're probably thinking to yourself, I don't want to do this. This is crazy. And for some, it's not going to be a good fit for you. But for the folks who really want to build a brand, who really want to build a business that they own, that they control 100%, there's a lot more upside, but of course there's a lot more responsibility. And when that comes, a different mindset, a different frame that you have to have, because you've got to be patient. It takes time. All the challenges that you're currently facing now on eBay and Amazon and Poshmark and all these other platforms that you're selling on, right? You're going to 10x that, because there's just so much more that goes into it, that goes into the process. And, you know, I can tell you right now, I've learned and I've grown so much by going through this process and, you know, building out my own e-commerce stores, and I'm super excited. So just, you know, be patient, see that end goal, know that it's going to be worth it, and be willing to learn and grow and, you know, build a team along the way. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I'll definitely be sharing more updates and videos with my e-commerce store and my business. And hopefully this inspired you. If you, have any questions, drop a comment down below. Again, like I said, one of the most important things is finding a really, really good supplier. So check out Alibaba.com, check out the Elite Partner event, check out the 4 suppliers that I shared. I'll put links down below. And again, ask questions. I'm here for you. And with that being said, keep on picking and making that money, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.